Hello, this is Mad Cat, the angry egalitarian that discusses this and that. Today we're relaunching my series, Things Feminists Say, number 6. And remember, feminist logic is really bad if men do it to women, but perfectly justified if women do it to men. So let us go ahead and start our screen share. Performed all the necessary steps. Today we are looking at the article. Oh, I forgot to do one thing. Oh, good, it's muted. Okay, so if you are now tune into this, sorry, I'm just trying to get everything together. Well, no one has. So if a viewer comes, I'll make a mention of it. All right, so we are dealing with this article today. On Pop Sugar, which I never heard of, but the 7-step guide for turning men into feminists. Now, something new I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be trying to keep these videos as short as possible. So I may only be doing one article at a time because there's usually so much to discuss with it. To do multiple articles would be too long. So I'm going to try to break that up a little bit more. All right, so written by Ashley Page. Oh, so now we know who we need to hate for this crap. So let's begin reading. A few nights ago, my boyfriend, well, that's one thing we should already establish. Turning a man into a feminist, I guess, requires you to be in a relationship, where you can have the most emotional manipulation. If you're now just joining us, if you type something into the chat, I will try to read it. I can't always get to it, but I'll try. So, you have to be in an emotional relationship in order to get a man to become the feminist that you want him to be. So, let's go ahead and skip ahead. I won't read all of this. He was sitting directly across from me, absorbed in something on his computer screen. I looked up from my phone and asked, out of the blue, "Are you a feminist?" I'm not sure what prompted it. Yeah, right. I was reading any particular article and could have provoked the inquiry. It just popped in my head, unplanned and spontaneous. Because it's so important to you, but up until this point in your entire relationship, this conversation has never come up. Now, maybe it hasn't, but, if you got into a relationship with someone and he's not into the thing that you find the most important, you're really kind of an idiot, aren't you? That you ended up in a relationship with someone without confirming that they are sympathetic to the thing that's the most important to you, which we will discuss in a moment. Well, this whole article will kind of show how important this is to her. He paused for a moment, his eyes still trained on the screen. Was he in the middle of speaking when you did this? How do you know he paused for a moment? Because he didn't answer you right away? I don't want to be associated with that word, he simply said. Why not? Well, that's a very good thing. Not to be associated with the word feminism for all the bad crap that it's done over the years. Because, he said, sighing, he knew this wouldn't be quick. Oh, I'm so glad that you can get into his mind and tell us what he's thinking. If a man did this to a woman, it would be called mansplaining. Society has morphed it to mean women blaming men for everything. Well, that's a misogynist man's line of thinking. Wow, you just called your boyfriend a misogynist. You horrible, horrible cunt. You just called your man a misogynist. I mean, that's almost grounds for an abusive relationship. He doesn't agree with you, so you call him a misogynist? But let's deal with that just for a moment. His reasoning for not being a feminist is what it's been morphed into. And your response is that it's the misogynist man's line of thinking, that feminism is not a bad thing in any way, and it's only men who are thinking it is. Well, let's go to this article. No country for burly men, how feminist groups skewed the Obama stimulus plan towards women's jobs. I thank Christina Hoff Sommers for writing this. I didn't really go out and look for an article. I just happened to find one, and oh, she wrote it. I actually realized after I reviewed this that she did. So, of the 5.7 million jobs Americans lost between December 2007 and May 2009, nearly 80% were held by men. President-elect Obama addressed the devastation in the construction and manufacturing industries by proposing an ambitious New Deal-like program to rebuild the nation's infrastructures. He called for a 2-year shovel-ready stimulus program to modernize roads, bridges, schools, electrical grids, public transportation, and dams, and made reinvigorating the hardest hit sectors of the economy the goal of the legislation that would become the Recovery Act. Oh my God, that would have been a good thing if it ever actually happened. You know, improving roads, bridges, electrical grids, public transportation. I mean, you live in LA lately? Public transportation sucks in LA. And this could have been something to improve upon that. Oh no, the feminist groups were appalled. Groups of notable feminist economists circulated a petition that quickly garnered more than 600 signatures, calling on the president-elect to add projects in healthcare, childcare, education, social services, and to institute apprenticeships to train women for at least 1/3 of the infrastructure jobs. At the same time, more than 1,000 feminist historians signed an open letter urging Obama not to favor a heavily male-dominated field like construction. Again, 80% of the jobs that were lost were men, and one of the hardest hit was construction. But let's not favor construction in any way because it favors men. Let's instead favor jobs that weren't hurt by the economy. We need to build not only concrete and steel bridges, but also human bridges. And these feminist cunts formed a group called WEAVE, Women's Equality Add Value to the Economy. It's not women's equality if you try to punish men for not having a fucking job. That's not equality. That is, we want to punish men even further by promoting women more. Women who weren't affected, who already have fucking jobs, we want to give them more money. The president-elect responded to the protest by sending John Furman, his soon-to-be deputy director, to the National Election Council, along with senior aides to meet organized Kim Gandhi and feminist majority president Eleanor Smeal. Is it funny to me that she's the feminist majority president? Shouldn't it be the feminist minority president? I'm just saying. The senior economists listened attentively as Gandhi and Smeal and other advocates argued for a stimulus package that would add jobs for nurses, social workers, teachers, and librarians in our crumbling human infrastructure. Did Furman mention that jobs in human infrastructures, health, education, government had increased by more than 500,000 since December 2007? So a section of our infrastructure, the human infrastructure that was already doing well, let's add more money to it so we can favor women over men. Let's let this load. Our incoming president did what many sensible men do when confronted by a chorus of female complaint. He changed his plan. The new stimulus, the total number of created jobs likely go to women is roughly 42%. 80% of the jobs lost in the recession was men, but 42% went to women in the stimulus package. No, no. This line here, society has morphed to mean that women blaming men for everything. That's a misogynist man line of thinking. It's just in men's minds that feminists are horrible, horrible people. Oh, Erin Pizzey, she became famous for starting one of the first women's refugees. She has also been subject to death threats and boycotts because of her research into the claim that most domestic violence is reciprocal and that women are equally capable of violence as men. Pizzey has said that the threats were from militant feminists. Again, all in men's minds that women are horrible. Let's not forget this protest, Warren Farrell's protest. This fucking dyke right here, this fucking cunt, is shaming men for trying to go in. He wants to know about why men commit suicide. And she's like, why are you supporting a rape apologist? Why are you doing this? You're a fucking horrible human being. Watch the fucking video. Again, feminists don't do anything bad. It's all in men's mind. Let's move on. The Talk. Sharon Osbourne especially, making fun of a man whose dick got chopped up and put into a garbage disposal or a blender, I forget which. And she's sitting there laughing about it while idolizing this horrible, horrible human being woman for doing it. She's idolizing her and even acknowledged on this show that if the situation was reversed and it was a man doing it to a woman, she would be appalled. But because it's a woman doing it to a man, it's perfectly okay. Again, the whole idea that feminism is bad is a lie concocted by a misogynist mind. Oh, and let's save the best for last. Jezebel, a news site specifically towards feminism. Have you ever beat up a boyfriend? Because we have. Condoning domestic violence of women to men. If it's women to men, it's perfectly okay. But if it's ever a man who does it to a woman, oh my God, that's the worst thing possible. We can't have that. Oh, no human should ever have to endure that. But if it's a woman to a man, oh my God, that's so funny. Oh, you go, girl. You fucking cunts. Sorry, I'm really hurting my throat here. But, no. We're misunderstanding all of this. No. Feminism is not against men in any way. In no way at all. We are merely just misinterpreting this. But I digress. Let's go ahead and take a look at this article. Listen up, ladies. If your man squirms with every mention of the F word, you mean fuck you, you stupid cunt? It's high time you intervened. Yes. After all, the underlying concept is so simple and pure, your 6-year-old little cousin would probably call him a feminist if you only explained it the right way. Really? So if you manipulate people by not giving them all the facts, you can convince anyone to be anything. You could convince people to be a part of the Nazi party if you explained it the right way. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at this. All right. Step 1, broach the subject gently. Throw a cute pet name into the equation. Honey, are you a feminist? It's better than sputting, hey, are you a feminist? Because if you're not, you're an asshole. Then smile and tilt your head. But also make sure your eyes are chucking daggers. Can you imagine that look? I wish I had my camera right now because I'd love to try to emulate that look of tilting your head back and smiling all innocent, but having the death glare at him. God, that would scare the hell out of me. I think I'd break up with a girl if she ever did that to me. So, what this actually says: step 1, emotional manipulation. Try and be sympathetic by using words that elicit an emotional response to lessen the impact of what you're actually trying to do to force him to become what you want. You're not happy with who he is, you want to change him. Oh, but feminists don't actually do that. That's all a man's lie. If you are tuning into this, please leave a comment in the chat or down below, and I'll try to address it as best as I can. Step 2, evaluate his answer carefully. If he says yes, good, you're done. You can go home now. You mean you're not home right now? If he says he's not a feminist, tap your chin thoughtfully. Don't speak, just think, for your next move will predict the course of your entire future together. Wow, this one thing is so important that it determines the future that you have with someone, that he must agree with you 100%, but you didn't do this before you got into a fucking relationship. Oh, it's better to change someone when they're already all the way into it and they can't exactly get out of it. That's emotional abuse right there. It's not like he can break up with you because you demanded him to be a feminist. So that means you can go and tell all your female friends, oh, he's just a misogynist. He wouldn't become a feminist. Instead of finding out beforehand, oh, you're a cute guy. Are you a feminist? No, I'm not interested. I'll go over here. No, instead you get into a relationship with him. But okay, let me finish. Did he list a reason, or did he just leave it at one heavy final no? If the latter describes your scenario, you have a lot of work to do, and it ain't going to be pretty. So, step 2, what it really says: study your opponent. Keep your friends close and your enemies closer. Rather than just accept his point of view, this is the time to study him and figure out the best way to change his mind. You could, of course, explain why you disagree with him at this point and tell him what it means to you, or try to understand why he has the viewpoint he does. Instead, this is about dirty tactics. You need to change his mind. So you need to study him, maybe consult with a few girlfriends about why he says this thing, and find a perfect way to ensure he does what you want. Step 3, explain the definition of the word. Feminism means believing in equal rights for men and women. Is an uncomplicated, succinct answer that is sure to satisfy him. Yeah, but is it true? I mean, I just showed you a whole lot of things that show that that statement is not true. But it's not about the truth of the statement. It's about what satisfies him. Oh, yeah, that is the actual definition. No need to decorate the word with complexities. Just state what feminism is, plain and simple. But be sure that it satisfies him. Not the truth, not a look at the history or anything, or the bad shit that it has done. No, 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 no. Cover all of that up. We want to satisfy him. So what is it actually saying? Step 3, propaganda. Don't show him the atrocities committed in feminism. Sorry. But simply tell him the definition. You know, the dictionary that you hate because you feel that it was written by white men to oppose women and non-whites. It's the perfect place to go to because it got one word right. But, you know, how about instead of just the definition of feminism, you show him everything feminism has done, and let him make an objective decision based on that. oh no, you can't do that because you don't want him to make an objective decision. You want to control him. Next step, step 5, reassure him. He doesn't have to wholeheartedly agree with every single radical idea of feminism. I'm glad we agree it's radical to be a feminist. After all, he may not want to see your grandma's nipples. That's pretty reasonable. Oh, wait, I skipped step 4. I'm sorry. Step 4, make the feminism is manly argument. Be warned, he may try to he may attach all sorts of fucked up dichotomy notions to the word because culture has taught him that identifying as a feminist is emasculating and weak and girly. No, I would attach all the things that I've already mentioned in this video. Tell him that, in fact, all the cool, tough guys are doing it. The really, really brawny ones. Oh, so your solution to him bringing up the fact that feminism is emasculating towards men is to emasculate him into it. Do you see the irony of that? Oh, feminism is not emasculating. Now I'm going to emasculate you into feminism. So what this actually is step 4, peer pressure. Culture didn't teach him anything about feminism. Feminists taught him what feminism is. More than that, tell him that he's a loser and the other guys that you are attracted to are doing it, so he should do it as well. Don't forget that he should do drugs and have an open marriage for the same exact reasons. Well, very attractive men are doing it. Why can't you do it? Well, if it's those men that you like, why don't you go date those men instead of trying to turn a man into what you want? Go find a man who's already what you want. That seems like an easy solution. Okay, so we already read step 5, reassure him. I will read my response. Step 5, get him to say yes. Get a man to agree on some points of feminism. If he can say yes to some things, then you can get him to say yes to everything else. I mean, if you can get him to say, well, yeah, I do want equality between men and women, then you can easily say, well, if you agree to that, then you agree that women should get equal pay. Well, yeah, I do agree that women should get equal pay. Well, then you agree that the patriarchy is really bad because it holds women back. Well, yeah, that does seem very logical. And if you get him to say yes enough times, you get him to do what you want. It's not about the truth. It's about manipulation. Step 6, leave him no choice. Tell him that if he thinks the gender should have equal rights, he is inherently a feminist because only feminists has a monopoly on equality, whether he chooses to identify as such or not. Shrug your shoulders, give him a coy side smile. Oh yeah, you have him there. Checkmate, you stupid cunt. Step 6, ultimatum. Rather than use logic or any sort of reasoning, act like a child and tell him he's a feminist whether he says he is or not. And step 7, work towards a resolution. By that definition, I am a feminist, my boyfriend eventually admitted. Yeah, I'm sure it went exactly like that. I got up, shook my head, and left the room. A little tactic I like to call pretend mad. Ooh, she just openly admitted to emotional manipulation. A tactic I like to call pretend mad. By that definition, I am a feminist. So you got what you wanted and you pretended to be mad. Ashley, he called out from the couch, I am a feminist. I am. I'm a feminist. And the next room over, I smiled. I'm so proud of him. I'm so proud that he catered to my emotional and psychological manipulations. My final tip, if your guy still doesn't agree that you should get paid as much as your male coworkers, dump his ass. Well, no, that's not what you did there. You didn't do that. You just said he should be a feminist. Now you're trying to backpedal here of saying, oh, well, if he doesn't think you should get equal pay, he may think you get equal pay and still not be a feminist. One is not indicative of the other, but you're making it that way. You're trying to backpedal a little bit. It's like, well, it's not about him being a feminist. It's about him agreeing with everything I have to say by being a feminist. You don't want a dude like that standing in your way of all the amazing things you're going to do anyway. You know, why bring this up when you're first about to go on your first date? Hey, are you a feminist? No. Okay, I don't want anything to do with you. I only want a man who's going to be a feminist. No, don't do anything like that. Wait until you're in a relationship to where he can't get out of the relationship and try to corner him and manipulate him emotionally and psychologically to get what you want, you little harpy cunt. This post was intended to be a satire. To satire the pervasive belief that feminism is emasculating, that feminists are manipulative, conniving, conspiratorial evildoers. No, there is no belief of that. You just proved it. You just proved that you are this conniving, manipulative, conspiratorial evildoer. You actually proved that point by trying to prove that it's not true. And even if you could say that this entire thing is just a joke, I'm not convinced that it really is. Because here's a kicker. One of my main philosophies that any complex joke has some truth in it. And if it's a simple one-liner, no, there's really no truth in those jokes. But if it's like more than just a one-liner, there tends to be some element of truth in it. And this is beaming with truth. The kind of emotional manipulation that feminists actually are. This isn't a joke post. This is the truth. This is what women really think. And you're going to try to manipulate him. You're not going to give him facts. You're not going to try to tell him why it's important to you. No, you're going to try to satisfy him. You're going to try to guilt him because it's manly and other people are doing it. You're going to try to get him to at least say yes to something. Then you're going to leave him no choice that he is one. This is what feminism is. I'm sorry to say. And while there are some good feminists out there who may not necessarily partake in this kind of emotional manipulation, enough feminists out there are like this. So I think that does it for me. I'm probably going to do another video right after this one, so join me for that. And this is Mad Cat signing off.